China has seen one of the largest economic growths out of any country in the world, and with that, the energy sector has also seen incredible growth. I mean, look at this graph. The average Chinese person uses as much energy as the average European. To support this expanding economy and ensure energy security, China has been investing heavily into various energy sectors, including coal, but more specifically renewable energy sources, as shown by this graph. So in this video, let's talk about why China is pursuing energy dominance, why they are focusing on renewable energy specifically, but also what other countries think about this and how their own energy sectors are faring. So China's energy sector has expanded massively over the past few decades. It is now the largest producer and consumer of electricity in the world. Most of China's energy still comes from coal, which provides more than half of its power. However, the country is also making huge investments in renewable energy, including wind, solar, and hydroelectric power. China now leads the world in renewable energy production and manufacturing. It produces more solar panels, wind turbines, and electric vehicles than any other country. At the same time, China has been increasing its use of natural gas and nuclear power. It has built new pipelines and terminals to import gas from countries like Russia and Qatar. It is also rapidly expanding its nuclear power plants, aiming to become a global leader in nuclear energy, as you can see in this graph. No one is building as many nuclear power plants as China is. Meanwhile, other countries are also trying to secure their energy needs. The United States has large oil and gas reserves and has become a major exporter of liquefied natural gas, LNG. European countries are also focusing more on renewable energy and reducing dependency on fossil fuels, especially after the energy crisis caused by the Russia-Ukraine war. So that leaves us with the question of why? Why is China focusing so much on their energy sector? Is it just to meet domestic demand, or are there other reasons? Well, one of the biggest reasons China is pushing so hard for energy dominance is security. Yes, security. China relies heavily on imported oil and gas to keep its economy running. But this creates a major risk. See, most of its oil comes from the Middle East and Africa, traveling long distance through key shipping routes like the Straits of Malacca. If these routes were blocked due to conflicts or geopolitical tensions, China's energy supply could be in serious danger. To reduce this risk, China has been making deals with other countries like Russia, Iran, Venezuela to secure more direct energy supplies. It has built massive oil and gas pipelines connecting it to Russia and Central Asia, reducing dependency on these sea routes. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, which I talked about in this video, China has financed and built power plants, oil refineries, and energy infrastructure in many countries. This not only secures energy resources for China, but also strengthens its political and economic influence in different regions. Some Western countries see this as a move to expand China's global power, which has led to growing tensions and concerns. It has also increased its investments in domestic energy production, from coal and nuclear to renewables like solar and wind. Doing this will improve security concerns, as if a battle did take place and a blockade on their oil shipments from the Middle East happened, then China will be able to use its domestic renewable energy sources and pipes from Russia to supplement this issue, thus making energy very important to China. Another key reason for this increase in the energy sector is also an economic one. The renewable sector of China is estimated to be worth at around 10% of China's GDP in 2024, making it around 13.6 trillion yuan in value, about 1.9 trillion in USD terms. This means that it is not only a way to boost China's security, but also a very profitable move for the Chinese government to focus on, which is why they have supported the sector with a myriad of subsidies, as seen here. Not only is it just solar panels and wind turbines, but of course it is EV vehicles. Now, by now you've probably heard about these Chinese EVs, they've been making a big splash around the world, especially in Southeast Asia, where they've gobbled up a lot of the market share, considering how new they are. These are also another important part of China's energy strategy, as not only will this again reduce dependency from the transportation sector, but it is also important to note as if they did get cut off from oil imports, then people couldn't use their cars and there would be widespread chaos and panic that even the Chinese government could not handle. This of course is assuming the electricity going to these vehicles is also from renewable sources. Now while China is expanding its dominance, other countries are also making moves in the energy sector. The United States, for example, has increased its oil and gas production through fracking, making it one of the world's top energy producers. Europe, on the other hand, has focused more on renewable energy, investing heavily in wind and solar panel to reduce reliance on fossil fuels. However, these countries have started to fall behind China, especially when it comes to renewables, but also nuclear power, where even some European countries have shut down their nuclear power plants, like Germany, who after the Fukushima accident decided to shut down many of its power plants to prevent an accident happening in Germany. Now, this to nuclear power is not a new thing. We saw this after the Chernobyl accident, but also the 3 Mile Island accident. However, this does hurt Germany, as it means it has one less method of energy it can rely on. And while the idea of a complete nuclear meltdown can be scary, for the most part, nuclear power is an extremely safe and extremely efficient way to generate power. This push for renewables for China is also important for another reason, and that is CO2 emissions. So China has historically been known to be a very polluted country due to the large amount of industry and coal-based energy sector. However, because of their push for renewables, these CO2 emissions have gradually stagnated and even seen some decreases. For a visual example, cities like Beijing, that 10 to 15 years ago you wouldn't be able to see 10 meters in front of you due to the amount of smog, nowadays have cleared up quite a bit. This is obviously great news for the public, but also in their mission of achieving the Paris Climate Accord goals of achieving peak CO2 emissions by 2030 and carbon net zero by 2060. And so that concludes why China is investing heavily into their energy sector. Whether that be solar, wind, and even nuclear, it is crucial for security reasons, economic reasons, but above all, reducing their CO2 emissions. And so let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think China will achieve its energy independence goals? And what will other countries do in response? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more deep dives into global events.